Getting out again. Just an overnighter at our permission. So yeah, just good to spend time in the woods. I'll film what I can and when I can. So I'll see you later. Okay, I've arrived in the woods. Taking my pack off. God, I'm only coming for one night. Why have I brought so much gear? You would have thought after all the lightweight hiking I've been doing I'd cut it all down, but no, there you go. Yeah, I found my spot. I'm going to go sling my helmet up between that tree and this one here, and set up here really. Yeah, walking up on the footpath. Just quickly show you my trousers, absolutely drenched, but let's say there wasn't any rain. It's forecast for a bit of rain a little bit later. It did rain this morning, so I delayed my leaving home so that I'd miss the rain. But as always, when you're in the trees, that rain continues for a little bit longer. But yeah, it's just nice to be in the woods to the sound of birdsong. Okay, right, let's get set up. go people, that's the hammock and tarp set up. I'll speed that sequence up, but believe me, that was quite quick. And that's using the jungle knot system for me tarp, which is absolutely invaluable if it is raining and you want to get the tarp set up very quickly. So now the hammock may need a little bit of adjusting. You see that's not square, but I will adjust it throughout the day, because once I've sat in it for a little bit, it does stretch a little bit, and we'll go from there. So, okay, so that's the hammock setup. Thanks. Well people, it's coming to the end of the day now. Not really done a lot of filming, but yeah, it's been a good day, a real chilled out day, and I think we need that sometimes. So yeah, we'll see you in the morning. Okay people, well that's this overnight are over. Good night's sleep. Didn't do a lot of filming, as you will see, but yeah, camp, my site is nearly squared away. I just got the last few bits. Got to do myself, going to do myself a bit of porridge, but on the gas, and then just pack everything up, and that's it. But before I go, I thought I'd like to show you, just to make the video a little bit more interesting, 3 different ridge lines that I use. I must admit I'm favouring 2 of them over, well, 2 of the 3 at the moment. We have, it's just, not sure what the first one is in the camo, dark camo paracord. It's just a quick deploy ridge line, which I'll show you how to use that, but that requires knots. The next one in the light camo, I use that as my gear line, and I use Fig 9s on that. These are the ones I use, and I'll show them, are the cheap Chinese knockoffs, which are more than adequate. And then the system I am sort of like really liking at the moment is the jungle knots plus the toggle. And what we do, we'll put all 3 up, and you'll see how quick. In fact, all 3 of them are fairly quick, you know, but yeah, you'll see all 3 of them in use. Okay. Okay, we'll start with a quick deploy. The main bulk of the line is hanked already, and the first knot you need here is a bowline. I'm not going to show you how to tie it, because there are many videos on YouTube to show you how to do it. It's a knot that I use quite a lot to make a loop at the end of my cordage. The simple reason is that it can be undone fairly easily. Even when it's been under pressure for a while, you can still release the knot. Okay, and then there's a couple of Prusik toggles on there all ready to for operation. Okay, so what we do is untie it from the hank. Don't want to come all the way, all right, because we don't want a load of cable on the floor. Just pass that around. Just move those up a little bit so they're not in the way on the wrong side of the tree. Just pass those around, and then pass the hank through the loop. Everything comes through, and then that gives you your anchorage on the tree. Okay, we'll go down to the other end, and what we do on this end is we tie a highwayman's hitch. Very simple knot, just make a loop and pass it through. So now we have a loop in the cordage. Then what we do now if you reach around the tree with our free end, pass it through that loop and then tighten it up a bit close. So I shall redo that. That gives us our purchase to make that really tight. Just pinch that so it don't go anywhere, and just tie a quick half hitch on there, and that stops that off. And now that's guitar string tight. If you want, just to make doubly certain, tie another half hitch, and that's not going anywhere, and that's adequate, but it uses knots. Okay, so now we go on to the next ridge line that I use. Okay, this one is with the figure 9s. As I say, these ones are Chinese knockoffs. The cordage has been hanked, so again we unhank it till we come to our first figure 9. Now you notice these are already on the cordage, but they are fairly simple to put on. Basically all you do is you just take a bite out of there, that goes through, and then it just passes over, and then they pull down. And like I say, you can pay lots of money for these items, right? But I think I've got these on something like Wish or AliExpress, a lot cheaper than figure 9 do them. Or you can make them yourself. I mean, it's not too difficult if you're a little bit clever with you know, metal work and whatever. They're not that difficult to probably to make. And then what happens is you make sure that the teeth edge, like the clips there, are pointing towards the tree. So all you do is you take your loose end around, you go over that piece there, and then there's teeth on this side, so you can now lock that in place. Now again, what I tend to do is I just tend to put a quick half hitch in there so that holds that in place. Okay, hope you can see that. You might not be able to. Yeah, just put a quick half hitch in there just to hold that in place. So we go up to the other end. As you can see, I've already got that one on the cordage. So again, making sure that this is pointing towards the tree. You just take that around. That then passes over that, and that gives us our purchase. We can then tighten it up however tight we need that. Run it through the teeth so it locks in place, and then like I said before, I just put a quick half hitch in there just to make sure that that is now tight. And again, that is guitar string tight. Now bear in mind these are ridge lines, right? They're not taking a lot of weight, so therefore I certainly wouldn't hang off of that, but for a ridge line that's perfect. You can put your tarp on that, no problem. I tend to use this one as a gear line, so I've put loads of Prusik loops on there so I can hang things on. Alright, so now we've got the quick deploy ridge line up at the bottom, and then what these Prusik loops are is that you attach your tarp to that so that so you got that connected there, and that's same as the other end. As I say, this is my gear line with all the Prusik loops on. And then the one that I'm really liking at the moment we come on to next. Okay, these are my jungle knots with toggles. I have recently done a video on this, so if you're interested, I'll put the link below. You can go and have a look. And basically it's just a series of loops that are knotted up with a toggle on the end. So we start it off just by passing that around the tree and then going through the most convenient loop. Okay, so now tie that down. That's got our anchorage nice and firm. So we go up to the other end, and all we do with this is just pass that around the tree. And it doesn't matter which loop we go through, because what you do now is you don't need to pull it all through, you just need to put some of it through, pull that up, and then those knots catch on each other and that holds that up. That one's not as loose, not as tight as it should be, so what we can do now is we can come back one. Okay, now that is now pretty tight. And again, I say it's a no knot system, but I tend to just throw a quick half hitch in there, again just for safety's sake. But again, it's something that I wouldn't hang off of, but it is something that you can certainly hang your tarp from. And I use a quick toggle system coming through these to hold my tarp. So that's the 3 ridge lines. All got their merits. This one I'm really loving at the moment, purely because of its simplicity and the quickness of operation. This one I've used for quite a few years now, and it's always served me well. But it's also good to know that, you know, if you haven't got all this with you, because this takes a bit of time for preparation to make up. These, you know, there's bits of gadget, you might not have them. If you have just got a piece of cordage, and you can quickly do your ridge line by doing a bowline at that end, and this at this end. So there we go, 3 ridge lines, all got their own merits. Take your pick and use whatever you like. I just say I tend to use a combination of these two, that for me tarp, and this for my gear storage running under the tarp. And it always comes in handy. It keeps things off the floor, keeps things neat and tidy. Okay people, well, like I say, that's the end of it. Hope that was a bit of useful information about ridge lines. So yeah, we'll leave it there. There you go people, as usual. I'll say leave no trace, but I think you leave it as minimal trace as possible, because for a start you can see where I've been walking, all this is trampled down. Yes, it will pick itself up, but although I use tree straps, you can see the marks around the tree. I've been using wider tree straps, which I'm not sure, but that's because there's moss there, and a lot of that moss is wiped off because I used the tree straps. And it's the same around this one. Not really doing any damage, but you're just taking off that initial surface layer. All right, and anyone who knows what they're looking for will immediately be able to see that. Yeah, so yeah, you leave as minimal trace as possible. You know, the ground, you know, within a few days, a week, that will be back to normal. But again, people know what they're looking for, will be able to see it. So it's been good to get out again in the woods. Like I said, not a lot of filming, but see you again next time.